And now, it's BoomerLife, lifestyle discussion designed to make your life more engaging, meaningful, and complete. Celebrating the baby boomer generation, this is BoomerLife on CIL 650.
And welcome to BoomerLife on CIL 650. I'm Joanne Sutton. A well-thought-out plan for your financial future is an integral part of building the life that you want for yourself and for your family. And on BoomerLife today, we're talking about your financial future. And our guest is JimDoyle, Senior Financial Consultant with Investors Group Financial Services, Inc. Now, Jim comes with a wealth of education and a number of designations as well. Jim is a certified financial planner, a chartered life underwriter, a registered trust and estate practitioner, a certified divorce financial analyst, as well as a certified international wealth manager. Now, Jim is also a graduate at the UBC Sauder School of Business Family Enterprise Advisor Program. It's quite an impressive resume. Jim, thanks for being here today.
Thank you.
Well, we are going to start off today's show with a very interesting question. It's very basic. A lot of us are asking this question. Will we have enough money for our retirement? Do you think people ask this question early enough, Jim?
Joanne, I'm still wrestling with the fact that people spend more time planning their next 2-week vacation than they do looking at their financial situation and their futures.
This is so true. So what is early enough?
I think from most people's perspective, early enough pertains to things like buying a house or buying a car. They need specific advice on the here and now. I think retirement questions often come later.
So why do you think that is?
When it comes to retirement, and I think of it in terms of deciding how you're going to finance it takes some planning ahead of time. If I could have people think in terms of a 1-star or a 2-star, a 5-star, even a 7-star retirement, I think they could make some better choices and have a better chance of working out a plan to get themselves there. They have to create a way to pay for it.
Well, I'll start with the 5-star plan if we can have that discussion. So what I'm hearing is people just basically want a game plan that's all laid out for them, and then all they have to do is know when to start and how much financially they need to commit to make it happen.
I think the tough part for most people is that when we think of however many stars retirement plan that we want to have, it takes a bit of work to get a good handle on how much and where the income is going to be coming from, as well as the cost to support that choice and that standard of living.
So if people put as much time into planning their retirement as they do in planning their vacations, they'd be a lot better off.
Oh, Joanne, I agree. The missing element we haven't spoken of is working with an advisor. Advised families build more wealth. Maybe it's just because a bit of regular attention is put to this that it achieves results.
So how much should people be saving for retirement?
The only true way to know the answer is to complete a financial plan, providing clarity by helping clients visualize their plan with financial planning examples. I think if you're looking for a place to start, a good yardstick could be the annual RSP contribution limit, which is 18% of annual earned income. I think people are a little bit apprehensive about sharing details of their situation, particularly if it's going to come with any sort of judgment around the choices that they've made.
Sort of like fear of being shown up on how little they know financially. Kind of like the emperor's new clothes, maybe learning that your financial knowledge is just not strong.
There are also concerns about where to start, how much time it's going to take, because we never seem to have enough of that, and finally costs.
Well, nobody wants to hear that they can only afford a 1-star retirement.
Ouch. I think it's important people have a vision. If the numbers might be a challenge to grasp, start with the vision. You know, if you're not a numbers person, which I think a lot of people aren't, I think satisfaction goes way up if I can get people talking about what really matters, why something is important, and what does the dream look like? What do you envision? What does it mean to you? And why does it matter to you?
Actually, I'm glad you've said that, too, because I'm not really a numbers person. I'm much more of a visual person. So what I'm hearing is you don't need math skills to get ahead when it comes to financial planning. You just need someone to help by asking the right questions. And I guess that's where you come in.
Well, Clients often feel overwhelmed by the emotional triggers and concerns around financial planning. When you're facing issues around paying for your parents' care or nursing costs, or you're deciding how to help the kids buy their first home, these are big picture planning questions.
Okay, so here's a tough one. What about the boomers who are sitting around waiting to inherit their parents' wealth and they don't feel the need to do any planning?
Bloomberg News put out an article earlier this month called Dying Penniless. It's not just for the poor. The study was saying how nearly a quarter of retirees 85 and older are dying with assets of less than $10,000, including the values in their homes. I really want people to take away this thought. What happens if my parents live longer than anticipated? What's the financial picture going to look like? Is it possible you could be called upon to help support your parents financially? If so, how does this affect your retirement plans?
Didn't somebody actually write a book called Die Broke? I'm sure I saw that on Oprah about 20 years ago. I don't think a lot of our listeners have even considered how their parents' financial situation could actually affect their own retirement plans. I think a lot more boomers are expecting a lot to come from their parents' estates, and they could be in for a big surprise, don't you think?
Well, with boomers likely to outlive their parents, they'll probably need a bit more money than their parents did. The sobering fact of the article, and the conclusion that you can draw, is that boomers cannot rely on their parents' estate to fund their retirement.
Can we say that again? That's the bottom line. Boomers cannot rely
on their parents' estates to fund their retirements.
So to be old and running out of money is quite scary. Yet we're given the same advice over and over and over. Save more, work longer, but it's never that easy.
Joanne, you're right. Even substantial wealth is no guarantee you won't burn through your fortune before you die. Now, it's true, richer retirees have options to preserve their fortunes for life. They probably can afford to buy insurance or long-term care insurance to pay for their nursing care or home care costs. However, they're also more likely to use the advice of a financial advisor, and I think that's part of the answer.
Well, I guess the part that really makes this tricky to avoid running out of money is that we really have no idea how long we're actually going to live. It's kind of hard to project.
When you say to someone it's easy to be wrong by a decade or more, it's pretty easy to spend too much money off your nest egg. The challenge is getting the balance right. Spend too little and die young, and you've missed the chance to enjoy your savings. I've seen both of these over the years.
I think what hurts the most is people carry this anxiety for years, not sure which camp they're in. Exploring your options earlier in life and a written financial plan could have helped answer this question. So what do you say to our listeners who haven't been able to save and they're relying on the government to help fund their retirement?
There's a lot of families that can't afford to save the 10 to 15% of household income before they retire. Stagnant wage growth and everyday life makes it tough, especially if you've had to leave the workforce for any reason and had problems getting back in.
So for those families who can't save what they'd like, you must have a couple of recommendations about what they could do to improve their situation.
Yeah. For these families, save as much as you can while you're working and find affordable insurance to protect against the cost of illness or long life, and pinch your pennies in retirement. It may not sound like a lot of laughs, but some planning is almost better than no plan. The consequences of not planning aren't nice. For those who don't have the benefit of a nice pension to fall back on, and by the way, we're seeing more and more of this, there's no alternative but to burn through assets to pay for living expenses.
So it sounds like you need great people to implement your plan and ensure that you're on track. You're listening to Boomer Life on CL 650. I'm Joanne Sutton, and today we are speaking with JimDoyle, Senior Financial Consultant with Investors Group. Financial security is a paramount goal for most Canadians. The need for advice has never been greater. Consider working with an advisor to rediscover confidence in your financial future. Still, a lot more to come with JimDoyle today, including some thoughts on the changing face of retirement. If you want more information and to get to know Jim a little bit better, you can go to his website, jimdoyle.ca, or give him a call toll-free at 1-800-665-7178 or 604-682-5431. It's all coming up next on Boomer Life on CL 650.
Celebrating the baby boomer lifestyle. This is Boomer Life on CL 650.